So anybody who knows me is well aware of my raging lady boner for all things outer Senshi. And I know that's cliche because they're all powerful and mysterious and cool and whatever, but shut up, it's my vlog and I can like who I want to. The thing about the outer Senshi is that by and large they are the same in both the anime and the manga, and the only real differences are their interactions with the inner Senshi, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Haruka is, in both versions, a super androgynous person who just radiates honesty. One of the first times we see her in the manga is actually in this version of like a tuxedo Uranus kind of thing, and it's never seen again and never explained. It's like the one interview question that I want somebody to ask Naoko and nobody ever does. Just why is she in a tuxedo in her first appearance? I need to know why. Is it to like demonstrate that she's super androgynous, that she's supposed to like represent gender fluidity and like all kinds of other symbolic things, and how like she as a Senshi is both the earth and the sky, and so she has this dual gender balance that I want to know. I want to just know if the symbolism is on purpose. So Haruka is the kind of person who wears her heart on her sleeve, and what she is feeling 100% at that time. She loves Michiru and she adores her adopted daughter Hotaru, and I would bet a lot of money that she loves Usagi with as much intensity as she does Michiru. And I would win that bet, because Haruka, Rei, and Mamoru all tie for first place in the Who Loves Usagi Most contest. We also get her origin story in the anime, which is all about how she was just this bored teenager who was doing the things that she was doing because she had nothing better to do. And then she started having visions about the end of the world, which is hilarious because, at least in the anime, Haruka is the least precognitive of all of the Senshi. In these visions, she sees Sailor Neptune, who says that she and Uranus are going to save the world together. And Haruka rejects this responsibility multiple times until a daemon almost kills Sailor Neptune, and then she's like, well, I should probably do something about this because I am the type of person who cannot stand to see a pretty girl in distress and is a saving type person, and she grabs the henshin stick, and then the rest is history. Now, I have waxed poetic about Michiru on Tumblr multiple times because she just like kind of guts me. As much as like Haruka is my favorite Senshi of all time, Michiru is the one that like just stabs me in the heart the most. She is such a complex person in both the anime and the manga. This pretty face with lots of talent, and then like nerves of steel who's not gonna hesitate to like completely destroy you if she thinks that you're a threat. She's poise and a wicked sense of humor and elegance and like this endless amount of sexual innuendo, and it is absolutely wonderful. And above all else, Michiru is absolutely ruthless, and I think this came across much better in the anime than it did in the manga. Because in the manga, she hesitates a little bit more and she questions things a little bit more. And it just always felt like to me that in the anime, whenever she and Haruka started to like wax poetic about, oh, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to do this mission, then she would be the one to snap back first and be like, no, it sucks, but we gotta do this. And really, she's ruthless for a reason. Aside from Minako, she has been at this Senshi business the longest. And we don't even know how much longer she was fighting as a Senshi before she found Haruka, or if she was even the first one to awaken before Sailor V. And it is completely possible that Michiru awakened before Minako did, because the only reason that Sailor V and Minako became really popular is because Minako. I mean, who loves a show and being lavished with attention more than Minako, I know. So this girl, who was probably 14 or 15 at the time for awakening, because Minako was 13 when she awakened to Sailor V, which would put Michiru at about 15 or thereabouts, she has to go at it alone, fighting all of these monsters and the Dark Agency and all of this stuff with no help whatsoever. She doesn't have Luna or Artemis. She doesn't have anybody telling her what is she supposed to do and why she's doing it. She is completely alone. So like, think about how much Usagi and the Inner Senshi grew, even though I've been saying that like there's been a bit of a reset button and like their personalities kind of reverted at the end of each season. They did actually like grow up between when they awakened at age 14 and when the series ended when they were 16 or 17. which 16 and 17 is roughly the age that Haruka and Michiru were when they met each other. By each other, I mean the inner Senshi and the outer Senshi. And like, Michiru's even more mature and hardened than Haruka is because of all that time that Michiru had fighting by herself. That forced her to grow up very quickly. I mean, you can really see this by looking at how Haruka and Michiru like react to stuff. Haruka has the tendency to be the more soft-hearted of the two, and Michiru has to be the one who comes in and is like, no, we got to, there's things to do. And it's particularly when it comes to the case of Usagi. You know, Haruka is usually the first one to jump in and kind of cheer Usagi up, and Michiru is more of the, we're gonna approach this at a realistic way instead of Haruka trying to like make you empty promises and you know, things like that. And people tend to forget that a lot of the times. They feel like that the way that they present themselves physically is how they're going to react to things, with Michiru being a more feminine personality and Haruka being more masculine, and that is not the case at all. They say fuck you to your gender expectations and you're gonna like that. The reason that Michiru is more cold in her approach is because somebody has to. Michiru gets stuff done. Setsuna is the wild card here. As we've already discussed the differences on when she died and was reincarnation, or if her death was just hand-waved away, we know already that her personality is going to be differentiated between the anime and the manga off the bat. In the manga, overall, she tends to retain her mysterious personality with little tricks here and there to prove that she still has a good sense of humor about everything. And in the anime, she is very, very serious, more so than Amy is. And also, again, she just kind of wanders into Professor Tomo's garden and is like, I'm gonna take your kid now, bye! I mean, I guess that's pretty probable considering that she had to like invent her own identity, so it's not like the police can track her or anything, but still, kidnapping! So speaking of Hotaru, she remains by and large the same in both versions, which is really kind of nice that I don't have to do very much. In the manga, as I have said, she was a cyborg and she was very sickly, with most of her sicknesses being chalked up to the fact that she was, you know, constantly needing her parts repaired, and she was being possessed by Mistress Nine, and all of these things caused her to isolate herself from her classmates, but also, you know, they noticed that she was weird, and junior high kids did as junior high kids do, and they, you know, bullied her a lot for it. And in the anime, her illnesses are largely due to the fact that she is being possessed by Mistress Nine. In fact, Mistress Nine is capable of possessing her for long periods of time, giving her like these weird meetings with her henchmen, and it's just like really creepy, this possessed girl filled with a room of giant teddy bears, because that's what every evil girl child wants. And the sweet little girl that we see in the Stars anime does not get the adorable aging up process that we saw in the manga. In the manga, Haruka, Michiru, and Setsuna go away with Hotaru to form the best, most super awesome, happy, fun times lesbian family ever to raise Hotaru, who grows up very quickly, mostly to catch up with where she left off when she was reborn, and to fight the latest evil, the Dead Moon Circus. She gets to be about the same age as she was originally in both versions, but she's portrayed as being kind of more innocent and younger and wide-eyed and happier than she was in her original state. So I have two more to discuss next week. I will not be discussing Luna, Artemis, and Diana because they're roughly the same throughout all of them, except they get human forms when exposed to the silver crystal in the manga. Yay, there are your differences. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.